We can't talk about finding a fulfilling relationship unless we talk about finding a partner who wants to learn to love you in the ways that you want to be loved. If you ask for more physical affection or words of affirmation and they tell you that they can't because they aren't a lovey-dovey person, then they aren't your person. If you ask for clearer or calmer communication during conflict and they say that they can't because they're a passionate/emotionally volatile person, then they aren't your person. A fulfilling relationship requires co-creation, which means that your needs and your desires shouldn't be neglected.
So I think this is a fantastic video, but I want to add something really important. In fact, I want to add 3 crucial steps to how we can make this process work for us. Because if you take a look at our experience with other people, people have uniquely different programming than us. Of course, you see this all the time on this channel. If somebody has a dismissive avoidant attachment style, they tend to expect love is something that happens from a distance, while cherishing freedom and independence and autonomy as some of the highest values in a relationship. But when it comes to somebody who's anxiously attached, their big needs in a relationship are really going to be based around love and connection, intimacy, closeness, vulnerability, and that's going to be what they're looking for. And this is such a part of the reason why learning to communicate, doing the work to become securely attached, goes a powerfully long way in terms of making our relationships work. Because if we have different programming, different needs, different expectations than somebody else, because so many individuals get into relationships with a different attachment style, then we have to have a partner who's willing to learn and move through those barriers of differences between us. But I want to share a story with you and then 3 powerful tips that can help build a framework of how we can actually do this, because this is something that I think isn't talked about enough. It's fine and dandy to say to somebody, we have to want to learn to do things differently, but how do we actually get there? What are those actionable steps? And what I would see all the time is people would come in back when I was running my client practice for about 10 years. I would have clients come in all the time. And I mean like 80+% of the time. And I would see roughly 40 clients a week on a rolling basis. And I would have people come in and they would say to me, Thais, I am here as a Hail Mary. Like, this is my last resort. I have tried everything in a relationship. I have a partner who's not willing to do the work, who's not willing to show up. And I don't know why I'm still in the relationship. I'm really thinking about leaving, but I figured I'd give it one last shot by coming to you. And as time went on, guess what I would hear? I would hear, unfortunately, that even though they were also trying from their frame of reference, meaning their programming, the way that they picked up communication and what was modeled to them, what imprinted them through their family system or their family of origin growing up, and the different patterns that they learned and became accustomed to. And how we communicate will matter so much. I want to take you through 3 specific things that you actually have to check off your list to see if you can be in a relationship with a partner who's willing to grow and do the work and really to actually access their potential and see if it's possible, but also to see if you are somebody who can do that. Are you the partner who can grow with somebody? Because sometimes there's a part of this that we may not recognize as taking place. It's actually fostering unhealthy or very detrimental communication from our side of a relationship. So I would see people, they would come in, they would say, Thais, this is my last resort. I've tried literally everything. My partner's really difficult. They never budge. And then I would learn that when they were communicating, they were doing things like this. They were saying things like, you don't care about me. You never make an effort to spend enough time with me. Instead of saying things like, hey, I really care about you and our connection. I'm feeling disconnected lately. I'd love for us to plan something fun to do this weekend together. Now, that's framework number 1, and it's actually called positive framing. You see, when we communicate and we may think, okay, we have a partner who's not willing to do the work, but sometimes it's actually that we're not communicating properly in a way that's going to get us heard. Now, don't get me wrong, there can absolutely be partnerships and relationships where somebody is unwilling to do the work and move the needle, and that absolutely happens. But I want you to really check in here with these crucial checkpoints to see if this is something that's even actually taking place. Now, the next thing that I would see frequently is, and let me actually break that apart for a moment. So positive framing is framework number 1. And this is where I would see, because if you're saying you don't care about me, you never spend enough time with me, think about our upbringing and our childhood, basically all of us, right? Anybody who's basically the age to watch this video now is probably pretty accustomed to what we call classical conditioning, the system of punishment and reward. In other words, when you did something that your family of origin or parents wanted you to do growing up, you would get rewarded. And if you did something that wasn't what they wanted you to do, or even went against what they wanted you to do, you may receive punishment. And punishment can take place in all kinds of different forms, right? That can be silent treatment, timeout, spanking, yelling, hopefully not, but also obviously can include different types of abuse, verbal, mental, emotional, etc., physical, sexual, etc. And so you grew up in this punishment reward system. So your nervous system has been trained for a very long time to hear that when you are wrong, or if you did something wrong, you're now going to get punished. And we go into defensive mode and self protective mode and we shut down. And so when we are not positively framing in a relationship, when we're not communicating our needs proactively and vulnerably, like, hey, I would love for us to spend more time together. Let's do something fun on Saturday. Let's plan it right now. If we're not doing that, then we're likely not getting heard, because what instead takes place is we say, you don't care, you're not making an effort. And somebody hears that and they go, oh no, I'm bad. I'm in trouble and I'm about to be punished. And then they go into defensive mode and then they start icing you out or shutting down. And this happens to different attachment styles. It's not just an avoidant thing. And so, what we have to really recognize is that positive framing is the first of three frameworks here that's going to go a long way to making sure that from your end, you are doing everything you can to find a partner who's willing to learn with you, but also and learn how to love you, but also do your part at that end of the relationship, uphold your end of the bargain to make sure you're communicating and sharing who you are in a way that is also going to be received so that the person has the appropriate information to show up back. Okay. Now, number two framework here is that you also want to get very specific. I would see countless times that people would come in to my office and they would come in as a couple and they would say, okay, we're going to, do the work on different needs this week. And one partner would say, okay, I need more support in the relationship. And they would leave. And I actually learned this the hard way the first year. I didn't make this mistake any longer working with people after year one. But they would say, okay, we're going to support each other this week. And they would come back a week later and they would sit down and they would say, my husband didn't support me. My wife didn't support me. And I would say, oh no, I thought this was something we talked about. And each person would be, very confused because they would say, what do you mean? Let's pretend it was the husband to the wife. What do you mean? I took out the garbage throughout the week this week. I did chores around the house. And the wife might turn around and go, well, just so you know here, for the record, I was actually looking for more encouragement. That's what support means to me. And so oftentimes as well, when we're trying to get somebody to learn to love us and grow with us in a relationship, we are not being specific about what that actually looks like. And then again, you're going to feel like everything you're saying and doing falls on deaf ears. It's going to be really painful and hurtful when you think you've communicated something, but don't realize that you might have communicated in a way that's not clear enough for somebody with a different set of programs or different attachment style. And now you don't see that person end up following through in the way you wanted. And then we shut down. We make a story out of it. We say, "Oh, they don't love me, or they're not a good partner, or they're never going to grow." But sometimes there's more to the story here. So the reason I'm sharing these three frameworks, and I still have one more to share with you, is so that you can make sure that you're doing everything in your control. You're showing up 100% for your 50% of the relationship. And that will allow you to then vet properly to see if your partner or this person in your life is really able to be there back and to be what you're looking for. And I'll share one more with you, but I do want to say if you want to do a deeper dive into repairing a relationship, if you're sitting here listening to this and you're like, wow, I've actually not been communicating properly for a very long time. And there's a lot of, challenges in a relationship here. And I have to do a lot of reparation, but so does the other person. You can check out a course fully for free just for a limited time. I'll put the link down below and it's called How to Repair Any Relationship. And it really helps build out these frameworks in more detail, but also highlight different things like our trigger patterns in relationships and the reasons we get into difficult places so that you can move the needle on those things and really drive new results and change in your relationship very quickly. So if you're on the rocks and you're tired of feeling like that, you'll be able to move ahead. Now, the last thing here is we have to see our needs through. Okay. True embodied communication means that you will actually see your needs through. You don't communicate one time to somebody with decades of different programming for what a relationship looks like than your programming. And we don't just go to them one time and say, Okay, I have this one need. And then the moment they forget, we're like, oh, see, I knew they weren't going to care. I know that in a romantic sort of fantasy world or way, we ideally want to have somebody like never forget our needs or never make a mistake or show up all the time perfectly. But unfortunately, the expectation that somebody will never forget anything or will always show up perfectly are actually more in alignment with like the fantasy realm than reality. And what is a healthy standard to have is that that person will make a huge effort. Okay. You communicate a need, they're actually going to show up, they're going to make an effort, they're going to try to make that needle move. But if they do fall off or they do forget, let's say you see 80% growth in the first few weeks, and then eventually they forget about something that when you remind them, they make that effort again and they keep showing up and they keep growing. And I don't mean that you should be reminding somebody, about a need every single day. That's not good. I definitely don't mean that if you say, these are the things that I'm needing, and they say, no, I don't care about those things. I mean, then they're probably truly the wrong partner if somebody's not willing to make the effort and to love you in the way that you're needing. But if they do make the effort, but they're not 100% perfect, see your needs through. And when you can communicate your need and remind the person in the positive, that is going to mean a lot. And in conclusion, here, I just want you to know that if somebody isn't willing to do any of these things, you're using these frameworks, you're showing up 100% in your 50% of the relationship, and somebody's just not willing to move the needle or to improve or to grow with you, then you have your answer. It's not the right person for you. They're probably not who you need to spend the rest of your life with.
If you're interested in helping make a huge impact on other people's lives while also building financial freedom, I'm offering an early bird 50% discount on our integrated attachment theory relationship certification program that will help you become a certified integrated attachment theory relationship coach and build your own thriving practice by the end of 12 weeks. This 12-week on-demand program will help you kickstart your new career by teaching you revolutionary tools and strategies that help clients transform their lives and relationships. Build your own coaching practice and set yourself up for a waitlist of clients and financial success. Even if you have no coaching experience, this program will give you very in-depth tools, resources, and confidence to get started in a matter of weeks. And you can learn more information by clicking the link down below.
So I hope this gives you a whole lot of clarity here today. Thank you so much for watching, for stopping by. Check out that course fully for free down below if you are interested, how to repair any relationship. And I can't wait to see you in future videos. I hope you stay here and subscribe and check back in, and looking forward to having you as a part of our community. Thank you for watching.